somebody tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Do you want to come and say hello to Frank Sinatra?" The likes of you may never be. And I went up, and he was sitting on a chair, and he was very sweet. And he got up, and I dropped my purse. Everything went rolling every which way. My retainer, on his shoe, tampons, I mean, just mortifying. And I was scrambling to grab everything. And he asked if I wanted to go to a movie with him the following night. That was a movie that he himself directed.
I see one person in the room. Good morning.
What I remember was that at some point he held my hand.
Sinatra. Hello, hello. Have you had a chance to see Sinatra? What were some of the things that surprised you about it? It's on Netflix right now. It's pretty awesome.
And when the lights went on, he said, "Did you like the movie?" And I'm like, "Oh, yes."
I love his music.
And
okay, so one of the main things that
and I heard myself saying, I don't know, my pajamas are my toothbrush, and I had this cat. He just started laughing. He said, "How about this? I will send the plane for you tomorrow. You can bring your cat." Whenever sky.
Okay, so one of the things that really shocked me about Frank Sinatra was how he helped Black people. And I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it. The way that racism seems to be, it's kind of backwards. Okay, and I'm going to explain that. Okay. When I think about racism and the way white people feel about Black people, really the way all races feel about Black people, it's almost like it was reversed. I could see people hating Black people if they had lynched white people, had forced them to work for no money, had stolen their land and their property, and raped their children, and raped their women, and raped their men. Then I can understand why society is the way that it is towards Black people, and why white people hate Black people so much and don't want Black men to marry Black women, and all this kind of stuff. It would make sense. But the way that it is, it's like white people did this to Black people, yet Black people want to be up under white people all the time. And Black people work against other Black people to empower white people. It just doesn't make sense. As a writer, if I wrote a story and I put on there that this person tormented another person, or this family tormented another family, and then I had it where the tormented family wanted to live next to the family that tormented them, wanted to give money to them, showed empathy to them, was praying for them, kept on abusing them, killing their kids, and it doesn't make sense. Who would buy that story? Everybody would say this is implausible. It doesn't make sense. This is not natural. This is not normal. But what if the family that's counted as the abuser or the tormentor is actually the victim? What if the story is completely reversed? You know what I'm saying? What would be the benefit of that? Why would white people allow the story to be told that they were the ones who owned Black people if it was reversed? I don't see any benefit in that. I don't know everything. It don't make sense to me. But when I'm looking at Sinatra and his background and what he went through, his son being kidnapped and Kennedy being killed after Sinatra had helped him by bringing on the mob people to support the Kennedy presidency, oh, this is a mess. It's a whole mess. None of it makes sense. Sinatra was a great proponent of civil rights. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I had no idea that he went to the NAACP convention and sang Old Man River, and Dr. King was there and cried. I didn't know that. I had no idea about any of that. And then how, uh, what's the man's name? Jesus. I can see him in my mind. Sammy Davis Jr. Sammy Davis Jr. was prohibited, disinvited from going to the Kennedy inauguration. He married this blonde white lady named Britt or something like that. I don't know what she was, an actress. I never heard about her or anything like that. But her and Sammy Davis Jr. got married, and because he married this white woman, um, he couldn't go to the Kennedy. The Kennedys didn't want him to come to the inauguration, which Kennedy was a Democrat. Um, Kennedy had gotten a great amount of the black vote, but because Sammy Davis Jr. married a white woman, the Kennedys didn't want to have nothing to do with him. And later on, when Sinatra was supporting black civil rights and stuff like that, he was cut off. I didn't know that. Meanwhile, his son was kidnapped by some random guy. The boy was returned and everything, but still, they still pretty much turned their back on Sinatra. I had no idea. And I would normally be looking at the biography for Sinatra, but I had time today. Mhm. So I am just shocked and amazed. How about you? Let me know down in the comments below. What did you think about that? I'm gonna get off of here because, as you can see, I'm still watching it. It is very long. Hear that? This is what drew me to Sinatra in the first beginning, was the music. I love his voice. I love that he was a crooner. I remember him, and I remember them saying that he was connected to the mob. You know, I had no idea that Giuliani was one who was integral in taking down the mob. I had no idea of that. I had no idea that once the mob was taken down, that's when New York really fell on hard times. I had no idea. Didn't know nothing about that. This is crazy. If you get a chance, you really need to check this out. Sinatra on Netflix. It's crazy. I'm gonna go so I can continue because you ain't saying nothing. I got you ain't saying a thing. So bye. Talk to y'all later. Yes, I would.